I am Jim Lapp, also known as the Duchess of Delight, and I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah, some people have made me feel inferior, and one of the things I think particularly that made me feel inferior and weird and different was the way I grew up. I grew up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I was adopted into an Amish home, and at the age of 10, my dad was ordained a preacher. So I always grew up having to be this perfect little role model for everybody. But I felt different, and having to conform to all those religious ideologies just was very difficult. One of the things that was really taught in that community was to be different was not good. We all had to conform, and we all looked alike. That's why when you see little Amish kids, they all look the same. They all dress the same. So individuality is not encouraged. It's actually discouraged. So I always felt weird because I knew I was different. One of the ways that so I got married and had children. I have three of them, three beautiful children. And as I continued to seek answers for my life, I realized that I needed to find a different God, because the God that I loved and served didn't seem to fit into, well, first of all, he didn't like homosexuals. And I had come to the point where I realized that I was gay. And of course that led to my divorce and separation and coming out 16 years ago. And then I was still spiritual, but not religious. And I thought that God didn't love homosexuals, so that didn't work for me. So I finally told God one day, I said, I am tired of religion, and I want to know what true spirituality is. And that is when the answers started coming. So one of the things I know is that when I seek for answers, I find them. And I find that really true in my life today, all the time, that when I seek for answers, I find them. They don't always come at the time that I want them to, but they do come. When I am persistent and patiently waiting, they will come. One of the things that I discovered after coming out is that I had a really repulsive attitude towards other people in the gay community who weren't masculine and butch like I was. And going to some of the retreats that I go to, I began to take a look at that. I began to ask myself questions like, why do I find that repulsive? Why do I find a guy who is femme to be a big turnoff? And so one of my first intentions was, one year when I went to my retreat, was to make friends with a really Nelly guy. And I did. And I found that he was beautiful. But it also gave me the courage to take a look inside myself and discover that, oh, there might be that type of traits inside of me. And so I started just experimenting. First thing I ever wore that was not masculine was a sarong. And next thing you know, I'm doing drag, I'm doing makeup. And it just, one thing just led to another. One of the things I'm really proud of is the fact that I have faced my fears. I've faced those those things inside of myself that felt like obstacles. And I have used those obstacles as a stepping stone to become something better, to become more authentically myself. And one of the things that I'm really proud of myself about is the fact that I am fearless. I think growing up in a rural community really helped me in that, because I grew up very sheltered. So I didn't know a lot of the things that were out in the world. And that same fearlessness, and also maybe a bit of innocence, has helped me to embrace some of the unknown, and maybe even to be a bit naive sometimes. And so I'm okay with my naivety. I'm also aware of dangers that are out there for those of us who are different. And I think it's important that we're smart, that we are careful. And I do. Also, working in construction, I build cabinetry and furniture. So I've been with this company for 21 years and came out there 15 years ago. All my coworkers are country boys, redneck. And to me, one of the biggest blessings I think that I've been able to experience is that these guys knew me as a fabulous woodworker. They also know me as Jim, as a positive person, a fun person, but they also know me as the Duchess. And I'm planning on moving to Atlanta in a couple of weeks, and they have actually encouraged me on my last day of working to come in with full makeup and a half hour before quitting time to go into the bathroom and change into whatever outfit I want to change into. And I think that's actually quite humorous that they want me to do that, but I think I'm going to be ballsy enough and do it. We'll wait and see. One of the things I appreciate about and love about myself is that I have found my strength. And if I were ever to meet that younger self of mine, which I have actually have, and I have spoken to that little child, is be courageous, be fearless, be yourself, be authentic, and don't give a rat's ass, don't give a shit about anybody else. One of the things that I read in Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, is what other people think of you doesn't matter. In fact, it's none of your business. And that was one of the most freeing moments that I have experienced, is to start living life regardless of what other people think of me. Because either way, there's always going to be someone that's not happy. And my responsibility is not to make others happy. But my responsibility is to love myself and to follow my own heart. And that's what I aspire to do.